Hi friends, welcome back to another reading. Today we're going to be looking at your next 3 months. So we're going to do an energy check like usual, and then we're going to break it down by career and relationships, challenges and blessings, and then we're going to finish off with some advice. So we're going to be looking at a few different areas for the next 3 months, but hopefully you find a message that resonates with you. We have 3 piles today. So the first is going to be this amethyst heart. Pile number 2 is this moss agate star. And pile number 3 is this clear quartz moon. So take your time, pause the video, take a couple of deep breaths, tap into your own intuition, and choose the crystal or pile, whatever most resonates with you. And I will see you in your reading, starting with pile 1. Hi pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose this amethyst heart, this is going to be for you, all about your next 3 months. So we've got a quick energy check here, and then we're going to look at your career or schooling, relationships, challenges, blessings for the next 3 months, and then get some advice. So let's jump right in. We have the Fool in reverse. We have Cancer. And we have Listen. Okay. So right away I'm getting the sense that a lot of you are kind of on the precipice of something new, and something is holding you back. And that could be certain circumstances, it could be your own limitations, your own emotions about the possibility of this major change, this new journey, this new project that maybe you want to start working on, but you're afraid that you don't have the right skills. You're maybe being a little stubborn on, you know it's going to take a lot of work, and you're just feeling a little lazy, or that sounds harsh, but you're feeling stuck in some way. And I do think perhaps part of that is because with this Cancer card here, this new journey is going to require you to be vulnerable and authentic in a way that you haven't ever been before, in a way that's a lot deeper and more bold, and in a way that's a lot scarier than you're used to. It will require you to really, truly express yourself, and not even just express yourself, but allow that part of yourself to be seen, allow that expression to be seen by other people, and hopefully learning how to deal with any judgment. You're fearful of judgment that comes with that, or again, maybe people will judge you for not being mature enough, not knowing enough, not having enough skills or education, perhaps. You don't have the right credentials to do whatever it is you want to do, and you've really internalized that. And yeah, you're really letting your emotions kind of control your actions right now, or inactions right now, because again, I think you're really holding yourself back, even though there's something that you really want to take a chance on. It's just scary. And so, this is the time to listen to these emotions and what they're telling you, to challenge these emotions and say, okay, but we can make up all these horrible what if scenarios, but what if we try to do the opposite, where it's okay, but what if this thing works out really well? Because we can do that. We can shift our mindset and perspective and really cut through the kind of illusions that our emotions like to put in our way, and dig deeper and find the actual message within our intuition and the guidance within our intuition. So if you can, during this time of, instead of maybe feeling stuck, try to shift that perspective and say, okay, this is a time of stillness. This is a time of pause, and really dig deep within and try to counteract some of those negative beliefs, those limitations holding you back, and confront them, because I think you're really, really stuck in your own head right now. And so, take this time, do your best kind of as you move into these next few weeks and months to silence your mind and really pay attention to what your intuition, what your body is telling you. Because, like I said, there is something you want. There is something you want to do, something you want to create, a new journey that you want to embark on. And really, it's just a matter of listening to yourself and not to other people and not to the world around you and not to, these internalized messages that become your own thoughts and then in turn create these emotions. You know what I mean? But if you've been feeling this way, if you've been feeling stuck and kind of unsure of yourself, if you've been feeling kind of emotional more so than usual, and if you've been trying to cut through those emotions and listen and find clarity and you're struggling with that, then this is your reading. So let's get into the main tarot part of this, where we're going to look at career or schooling, relationships, and then challenges and blessings. So first, for career and schooling, we have the Page of Voices and the Nine of Voices. Okay. Let's just scoop these on over. Okay, and Voices in this deck is the Swords suit traditionally. So I think for a lot of you, there is incoming communication or an opportunity that will start a new chapter of your career, or again, school if you're going to school. Something that will allow you to find a little bit of that clarity and really let your intelligence and ideas shine. I do also get the sense that if you're feeling stuck right now in regards to, like I said, a career or a project or something like that, I do think there will be kind of a breakthrough with that. And it's almost like this just kind of go for it energy. This almost like hyperfixation energy. When I was meditating on your energy before I started drawing cards, the word whirlwind came to mind, and that's kind of the vibe I get with this Page of Swords. Is just that it's just this frenzy of action. It's you turning that Fool upright and just having the curiosity and the vulnerability and the drive to go after what you want. And now with this Nine of Voices here, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll completely shake off those imposter syndrome feelings, those anxious feelings. Some of that I think will be lingering a little bit. And the Page of Voices is a student. They're learning as they go along, and Spirit wants to reassure you that there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be there. it just means that you're learning, you know? That's all it is. And I think even if you don't communicate these ideas perfectly or as clearly as you would like, you're still communicating them. You're still putting yourself out there. You're still expressing yourself and your beliefs and, you know, these creative ideas and projects. You're still doing it. And I think that's the key. That's the most important part. And the more you do that, the more comfortable you get with it, and the more these anxieties will dissipate. Some of you could also be going back to school or taking a new course or like continuing education courses for whatever career you're in. And maybe it's a little bit later in life for you, or maybe, yeah, you're a non-traditional student in some type of way, and you know that can be very anxiety inducing. You feel kind of like a fish out of water. You feel you know, you feel like you don't belong there. You stick out, you know. But that's that's okay. You know, it's all part of the process. And it's also that your ideas can become more fully developed. Your insights and intellect can grow stronger and have a better foundation for them to build on and grow on. Like, Spirit really wants me to drive home that you are so smart. Like, please do not doubt your intellect, your wisdom, your experiences that you've had thus far, because you bring a lot to the table. Your ideas are important, and the more you express them, like I said, the more this Nine of Voices will dissipate. That anxiety, that fearfulness will soften and be released. Your fresh perspective, whether it's in a career, whether it's in a school, you know, any sort of like professional or business setting, your insights are very important. Your fresh perspective is insightful for a lot of people, and it brings something new to the process, you know, whatever thing you're creating, whatever product maybe you're trying to advertise or something, you know, you take a new approach to it, and that is so valuable, not to just, you know, the company or whatever. It's valuable to you because it's that kind of reflection that, oh, I am meant to be here. And again, those instances, you know, that this Nine of Voices might hang on a little bit, but as you move through this and as you continue to speak up and share your voice and share your perspective, you'll feel a lot more comfortable doing so, and you'll progress, I think, quite quickly. You might even surprise yourself in the way you kind of move up the ladder, so to speak, or you know, the grades you get in your schooling, whatever it may be. You're like, oh, dang, I did better on that than I thought, or you know, oh, I got a raise. Like, that's really cool. And so just those instances of feeling more comfortable in yourself and in your ideas and in your intellect. You're smart. Please know that. Like, again, like, Spirit really wants me to drive that point home, is like, you might be a student in some aspects, you might be learning the ropes somewhere, but you are so smart and you're a quick learner, and you should not beat yourself up for maybe making a mistake here and there, because that's how we learn. And so I really do think things will progress quickly. Like I said, the whirlwind energy is very present with with your energy. And so I think once you take that leap of faith, once you decide to go after an idea, you can make it happen. And just know that, there might still be some doubt in your mind, you know, a little bit of imposter syndrome or anxiety here and there, but like I keep saying, you'll move through it, and it won't even be a thought anymore after so many months. So now let's look at, what did I say was next? Relationships. Okay, we have the Emperor and the Nine of Inspiration. Okay, so that's the wands in this deck. Another 9. So yeah, there's a lot of 9 I take as like a number of spiritual growth. I think of 9 is the Hermit in the major arcana. And so, 9 is, you're nearing completion, you're gathering more insight, you're gaining wisdom, and it just comes with this like spiritual awakening. But right now, this is talking about relationships. So the Emperor is Aries energy, it's masculine energy. The suit of the wands is fire energy, so that also gives me kind of masculine vibes as well. Okay, and real quick, this is coming through as connected to the career. This is kind of being interpreted, at least in one way, as like a business relationship. The Emperor makes me think of somebody who is a leader, who's very structured, who's very successful, who is maybe a mentor to you in this new career. But the Nine of Inspiration, makes me think that when you're in this new position, when you're navigating these new business partnerships, these new coworker relationships, perhaps, boundaries are very important. And protecting your energy is very important. It's easy, with this whirlwind energy to get very caught up, to burn yourself out. Like I said, it was almost like a hyperfixation energy. And so being very cautious, being very intentional about where you put your energy and how you conserve your energy is going to be very important. Again, just in regards to career and navigating those new relationships as far as, again, business or school or whatever. However, regardless of what type of relationship this is, whether it's, like I said, business, romantic, friendship, familial, that message of boundaries and protecting your energy is going to be really important over the next 3 months. You are changing. You are changing over these 3 months, especially if you can turn that Fool upright, especially if you follow these ideas and your creative insights and inspirations. I think you are becoming this Emperor, and you are stepping up to lead and find success and take control of your own narrative in a new way, in a more solid and stable way. You're finding that security within yourself, and in turn learning how to create it in your external world as well. So I think there will be people in your life who really gravitate toward this. And again, boundaries are important, learning to navigate those, but there will also be people who are upset by this change or who challenge this change within you because it's a change. It makes them uncomfortable. And so, again, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Like, I just keep hearing that word, and really protecting yourself, but really allowing yourself to keep pushing, again, not to the point of like burnout, but to the point where, or I guess rather in regards to the fact that you're on the right path. Like it's pushing through in this belief in yourself and your vision and knowing that what you're doing matters. And maybe it only matters to you, but it still matters, you know? And it's still something that you have a passion for and something that will bring you a lot of success. And you know, there might be people who, like I said, challenge that or are envious of that. Like there definitely is this shift within your energy of moving toward like a more masculine type energy, the type that takes action, the type that is very structured, is following a plan, is expanding, is, you know, following their vision and is very strategic in their thinking and their actions. And I think over the next 3 months there will be reason for you to protect that vision and again protect your energy and create some boundaries. And you know that also goes for the relationship with yourself. And like I said, learning how to not burn yourself out, learning how to set boundaries with yourself about how much to work. Things may feel kind of tumultuous at this time, but I'm really excited for you. things are things are definitely turning around over the next 3 months. But let's get some advice really quick just to see what else you should take into consideration over the next 3 months. So Spirit, what advice do you have for pile 3 as they move through these challenges, these changes, and the next few months? Ooh, we have Jupiter expansion. Dude, what did I say? That word, expansion, yes. And Jupiter is also the planet of good fortune and luck. So really, I think this card is just reassurance that, again, things are gonna change for you in a positive way. Abundance is coming, expansion is coming. You know, a reminder to release these self-limiting beliefs and honor your ideas and inspirations and follow your dreams and look at the bigger picture, find a new perspective, a new lease on life, kind of, is what I'm hearing. Again, a new kind of renewed sense of faith. But there is so much growth and healing and abundance coming to you over the next 3 months. So much, you guys. Everything is expanding, and it's expanding in your favor. That's beautiful. We have the number 24 here too. That could be a significant age or date, perhaps. Let's get a couple more pieces of advice for pile 3, please. Whoop. Ooh. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to say that right. Chariklo, spirit medicine with the number 39. But yeah, okay, so spirit medicine, spiritual healing, again, is coming through, a major spiritual awakening. This is, again, a deepening connection with yourself on every level, mind, body, spirit, and really getting clarity on what you need and really reconnecting and honoring all parts of yourself, healing all parts of yourself. And this is also a reminder that healing is a process and it's not a linear process, right? And, being healed is not really a tangible, real end point. Things are always changing and shifting, and you move through something and you face new challenges and obstacles, and sometimes we have to heal from those. And it gets easier in a lot of ways, and sometimes there are new challenges that will take a little bit more effort, but again, there's just this renewed sense of faith and connection with yourself, and a recognition that you have the capabilities to heal. This card also does talk about alternative healing methods and plant medicine and paying attention to your diet. So if that resonates with you, I would encourage you to kind of look into that. Again, maybe you're going through you are going through a spiritual awakening, but maybe you're kind of shifting beliefs and you're feeling a little lost right now, and maybe connecting with Mother Earth and all the kind of natural remedies is something that resonates with you. Maybe that's a new practice that could be beneficial for you. And with that, there is also the message of seeking support, specifically like medical or health support where you need. Again, this is a medicinal card, and so if something like that resonates more with you, then please be sure to seek out support and healing modalities that resonate with you, that are genuinely beneficial for you, and things that lift your spirit and make your body and mind feel better. But let's get one more, please, for pile 3. What other advice do you have for them over the next 3 months? What else? Oh! Regulus, the heart of the lion. Beautiful. Oh, the number 43. So have courage. Have courage. Be brave. And, I'm hearing feel the fear and do it anyway, and that is a challenge. We had the 2 of inspiration and the 8 of emotions. There are a lot of emotions as we branch out, as we break out of our comfort zone, and it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength, but you have it. You have, the magician. You have the power. You really do. And so, follow, I don't think this is actually the North Star, but follow your North Star. Follow your light. Follow your heart. Honor your heart and your spirit. And this card makes me think of Leo energy, the heart of the lion. And so, it's not just about having courage, but it's about being optimistic and having a positive outlook, and knowing that it's safe to have a positive outlook, and trusting that, if you own your power, if you trust in your capabilities and your strength, then you have the ability to create a positive outcome. You know, so long as, speaking of Leo energy again, we work from a place of the heart and not the ego. And so I think that's a key piece of advice, is that we're human. We have egos, and our egos just want to protect us. And we have to, like I said, reconnect with our heart and spirit, and listen to that little voice that says, it's going to be okay. You can do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And believe that you can succeed. Believe that abundance and success are coming, because they are. They really are. You know, we saw that. Those are your blessings, abundance and success, and this overflowing of love and luck, especially with Jupiter here. I mean, things will turn out in your favor. And I get the sense that you might not feel that way right now, but please keep going. You know, please have faith. You will find your faith again. You will find security and stability within yourself again. And you will find a direction, a path that is nourishing and is uplifting and brings you so much joy, as well as bringing you, you know, success and abundance and fulfillment. It will truly deeply resonate with your heart. And once you achieve these things over the next 3 months, once you again find that security within yourself again, the fear will not be as strong. You'll just be able to have the courage and strength to go after what you desire, and know that you can achieve it. Know that you have the power, the manifestation abilities to create whatever life you choose. And again, you have some luck on your side as well. So I'm really excited for you, and I feel a lot of like tenderness for you, because again, I don't know that these future messages will resonate right away, you know, because you've got to move through some hard stuff. You've got to find that faith in yourself and in the world and in spirit again, and that's okay. But I hope this offered you some reassurance. I hope some part of this resonated, and you know, I think that's all the messages I have for you, pile 3. Like I said, I hope something resonated. I hope it was helpful in some way, and I just know you are gonna have a beautiful and blessed upcoming few months, and it may take a couple of those months to move through some hard things, but by the end of it, I know you're gonna feel a lot stronger, a lot more brave, and a lot more full of life. Again, you're expanding in new ways, in beautiful ways. So if this resonated, if it was helpful, please give me a like, a comment, subscribe. If you want to dig a little deeper, get a little bit more specific, I do offer personal readings and personal coaching sessions, so you can find those on my Instagram or my website. Those are linked in the description below. And so I hope you'll check those out, and I hope you will come see me in the next video, and you'll check out some of my other videos. And I hope you take good care of yourself wherever and whenever you're watching this. And please know that I love you so, so, so much. And I will see you next time. Bye. Know what strategy to follow, who to invest in, who to work with, those sorts of things. For some of you, this is a very specific message for some of you, so if it doesn't resonate, please don't take it. But for some of you who are in a relationship, perhaps with a masculine energy, maybe with an Aries, but that doesn't have to be the case. But for those of you that are in a relationship that has a more, where maybe your partner has a more dominant energy, again, the more masculine energy, and things have felt a little off, or as you start going through these changes, the dynamic is changing, and that creates some tension and challenges. There may be this final push to perhaps try to make things work. There may be a renegotiation or new expression of boundaries. There may be feelings of defensiveness on your partner's side or on your side because things are changing and things are new, and that gets uncomfortable in relationships. But this is a matter of reevaluating the relationship and taking a look at whether or not it can be successful through these changes, and whether or not it's built on a stable foundation. And I do think for those of you that this resonates with, there is that foundation. There is that ability to move through these challenges and this tension with grace. I do think it will endure. I think there has been a lot of time and effort invested already. I think, that there is a stable foundation, just as reassurance, but just know that over the next 3 months that perhaps there could be some challenges that arise. And, that could also just be due to changes in things like work schedules, or, how much energy you're putting toward this new thing. And, maybe your relationship is kind of falling by the wayside, and that happens, like things ebb and flow, our energies ebb and flow. The way we want to direct our energy changes, and that's okay. But it's a matter of kind of revisiting, what's important, and how can I, again, create some boundaries with myself and with others to ensure that this stays strong and stable. This stays a successful relationship. And it's all about planning. It's all about strategy. It's all about, again, learning to direct and protect your energy, and learning how to build and expand with someone while you perhaps both go through changes. But speaking of changes and challenges, let's look at what might be coming for you as far as challenges. In the next 3 months, we have the Knight of Inspiration and the Five of Materials. Okay, so again, planning is going to be really important. Strategy is going to be really important, because this Knight of Inspiration is impulsive. Like I said at the beginning, there is this whirlwind energy. There is this decision to flip that Fool right side up and take that leap of faith and just go for it. Just dive head first. And that is great. But one, I've been talking a lot about burnout, so that is something to be aware of. That could be a potential challenge. But more than that, this is perhaps investing in things without really thinking them through. and then perhaps getting yourself in a situation where you are less financially secure and stable than you would have liked to have been, and subsequently, perhaps you need to ask for help. How many times can I say the word perhaps in a sentence? But this night of inspiration is it's you charging forward, it's you following your passions, it's taking a risk, and you're willing to take that risk, but the challenge is or will be the fact that you do only have limited resources. And that is just a fact of life for a lot of us, is that we have access to a certain amount of resources, a certain amount of skills, a certain amount of knowledge. Like I said, you're kind of a student here, and that's okay. You know, maybe if you are literally a student and you're going to school, maybe you're taking out loans, and that creates some challenging financial situations. Maybe you're taking out loans or investing a lot to start your own business, and you know, you're realizing that perhaps it was a little reckless, or perhaps you didn't plan as well as you needed to, and you're feeling rather insecure, particularly in your pockets. But the Five of Materials also does talk about like health struggles, and so back to burnout, maybe you're really gung-ho, maybe you're really going for it, and like I said, that hyperfixation energy is just non-stop, and you're not stopping until your body says, whoa, I need to stop. And there is a noticeable change in your physical energy. And you know, not to instill fear or anything, that doesn't mean you'll get seriously sick, that doesn't mean, you know, this is just a very general reading of, you know, burnout causes physical issues. It causes you to be literally physically exhausted. That's why it's called burnout, for a reason, you know? And so that, again, I think it is another challenge of, where are you investing your time and energy, and are you implementing these boundaries? Perhaps for some of you, you know, a lot of things are changing very quickly over the course of the next 3 months, and you are making a lot of progress. Like I said at the start, there's a lot happening, there's a lot of progress, you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden there's like a stall. It just stops. And you could be feeling burnt out, you could be feeling discouraged, you could be feeling isolated even. And you know, there like I said, could be some shifts in relationships, so maybe you realize that, you know, those things have changed and it all kind of hits you at once. And again, that's okay, we're human. It sometimes takes us a minute to process things, and so, you know, the nice thing with the Five of Materials is that there is this helping hand. The doorway is open, it's so close, and you know, you are tired. You are tired. I do think for a lot of you this is burnout. I think for a lot of you this is that lack of stability. Like I said, maybe you actually quit your full-time job and invested everything into like a small business, and then, you know, you have some really good progress and then it stalls out, and you're panicking, you're very weary, you're feeling, you know, that Nine of Voices kind of creep in again with the kind of feeling of helplessness of the Five of Materials, but you're not helpless. You know, the door is right there, the hand is right there, and all it needs you to do is ask. It needs you to ask. It needs you to look behind you and see the light. It needs you to know that more resources and people and help is available to you. It just might take some shifts, it might take some changes. And again, it will require you to, like I said at the start, be vulnerable. It will require you to express yourself in a way that is uncomfortable. But asking for help, getting our needs met can sometimes be very uncomfortable. But in order to make the most of all your efforts, in order to keep pursuing your passions, you're gonna need a little bit of help, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so hopefully, you have these stable relationships, these enduring relationships through all of this kind of craziness, this lightning speed progress. and they will have your back. But that's definitely challenging when you come head to head with the fact that, oh man, I maybe didn't plan so well, or I didn't have as much money or investors as I thought, or I went really, really hard at this job or at schooling, and now I've burnt myself out. And so just know it's okay to rest, but take your time getting back to this passion, this, almost impulsiveness, and maybe that's kind of a lesson to learn here. But there is help out there for you. And finally, we'll see, maybe there is some help for you in the cards. But the blessings, we have the Hierophant, and we have Awakening, which is the Judgment card in traditional tarot. So let's see. There we go. So definitely, yeah, perhaps a mentor of some kind. Again, we've got 2 5s here, so definitely some change coming in. Lots of change coming in, but perhaps a spiritual mentor, perhaps just another kind of emotional mentor. But truly the biggest blessing that you have is that this whole process, these next 3 months, are going to show you just how capable you are. It will awaken something within you. It will open you up to new perspectives. It will help you see life and the world in a totally new light. Like, this is a very deep, intense spiritual change and awakening. I mean, you're recognizing that you're following your calling, you're answering the call. And the biggest blessing overall is that it will solidify, all of this journey over the next 3 months will solidify your beliefs, your ideals, your values. It will strengthen them within and without. You will have this sense of deep, newfound faith, ultimately. And that's faith in yourself, faith in your ideas, faith in your vision, all of it. There's a sense of forgiving your past self for, the self that you are now, that is this reversed fool, and really recognizing why you felt that way and understanding it deeply, and how to listen now. You're truly listening to the call, and all of these challenges, the 9 of Voices, the struggles to push through, all of that will pay off. I want you to know. And again, cautioning about like burning yourself out, but it will pay off. Take care of yourself, set some boundaries, but there is just a deep recognition that you have found the right path, you have found the right calling, and it is just resonating within your soul in a way that nothing ever has before. For some of you, like I said, this could be like a spiritual mentor or just like a teacher in general. Whatever, you know, this helping hand is, it's definitely coming through for you. And for those of you where this Hierophant is a real person coming into your life, just know that they are helping you to instill this belief in yourself. They see your vision. They see your skills and your strength and how much work and time and effort you have put into this, the sacrifices you have made, and they believe in you. Even if maybe they come in after this challenging point and you don't believe in yourself anymore, they say, I see you. I see you. And what you're doing matters. And it is valuable. And it is beautiful and worthy. And it deserves to be seen. And not only that, but you deserve to see it that way too. You deserve to feel that way too. And you will. And you know, awakening or judgment is you seeing the light. It's you seeing your vision come to life and kind of going through this rebirth, and you having a belief in yourself that is truly unshakable. But let's get some final advice for you for these next 3 months. Spirit, what advice do you have for pile 1 as they go through this whirlwind journey on the next 3 months? They make all these changes the next 3 months for pile 1. Okay, we have full moon culmination. Yeah, I mean, reassurance that things will culminate, reassurance that things will come to fruition. There will be things to celebrate. Things will find clarity. Things will be illuminated. And as advice, this full moon culmination, I take this card as learning to flow through your emotions, learning how to rebalance and kind of regulate those emotions, allowing them to be felt, allowing them to be seen and heard, but not letting them, like this Cancer card at the start, not letting them control your actions or inactions. You're learning how to let them flow and release them. And for those of you where this is maybe related to like a creative project, you're learning how to channel these emotions into that creative outlet. But let's see what else, whoa, Spirit has to offer you. Arcturus, protection, beautiful. This card talks about following the calling of your spirit, to trust where your heart and your soul is leading you. During these next 3 months, it will be really important for you to reevaluate what your values are and how you are or are not living in alignment with those values. We also, again, have the theme of protection. It makes me think of all the talk of boundaries and protecting your energy of earlier. So that message is really, really important during these next 3 months. But also just know that you are spiritually protected as well. This card also does talk a little bit about relationships and learning to be discerning about relationships and being honest with people, being very clear in your communication, but recognizing maybe when someone's not for you, or, you know, recognizing when someone is being dishonest or misleading you. And so, you know, I think especially with this 5 of materials, you know, look, it's like I heard Mr. Rogers, look for the helpers. And so look for the helpers and learn to discern when people maybe are promising something too good to be true, or again are trying to like mislead you or deceive you. again, being very protective of your energy is going to be super duper important over these next 3 months. This card also talks about being very intentional with the sacrifices that you make. You know, one of the phrases in the guidebook is like, the right decision is sometimes the hardest decision. And so, again, really aligning with your integrity, your values, and recognizing, you know, going back to kind of this Emperor energy, this Hierophant energy, recognizing where you're putting your time and effort in a way that is going to be productive and beneficial to you and your success and your well-being. This journey will take sacrifices, but, you know, it doesn't have to be reckless. It doesn't have to be impulsive. It doesn't have to be sacrificing everything to get what you want. It's intentional. It's very purposeful. It's very structured, like the Emperor. All right, let's get one final message. One final piece of advice for pile 1, please. Pluto, death and rebirth. Okay, that gives me like the awakening vibes. And Scorpio, yeah, just allow yourself to surrender. Allow yourself to surrender to the transformation that's happening. There will be challenges, there will be blessings, there will be all sorts of shifts and changes, and all of that is culminating in a rebirth and this new sort of outlook on life, this new almost leveling up of yourself. I wanted to say like new persona, but you know, you're still you, but you're just more confident, you're more articulate, you have this deeper belief in yourself, you're much more stable within yourself, you're much more centered within yourself. And these transformations take time, and they take assistance a lot of the time. You know, Pluto can talk about some really deep shadow work. You know, I think there's a lot of limitations, a lot of anxieties that need working through. And I think that we all need help sometimes with those things. But Pluto's all about owning your power and recognizing the power that you do have and learning how to wield that power in a responsible and wise way. And I feel called to check the back of the deck. I don't know if I'm gonna do this for every group, but we'll see. But we have Earth on the back of the deck, number 22. So 2222 or 222 could be significant for you on this journey. But Earth, home, and not just the message was clear as day. It's just you're coming home to yourself. You are finding a home within yourself, creating a home around you, and really building the life that you want and that you deserve. And I think that's so beautiful. I think that's so exciting. You know, these next 3 months are a whirlwind. They really are. That word kept coming to mind, you know, before and during your reading. But there is a lot of power here. There's a lot of potential here, and you are recognizing this power. You are awakening to something new, and that might take the full span of the 3 months, and that's okay. But just know that you can handle these challenges coming your way. You can handle the changes, and you can step outside of these limitations that you're feeling, that you've placed on yourself, that others have placed on you. You can step outside of feeling insecure and like an imposter, and you will achieve a lot of success. And you know, even if it's not fully materialized in the 3D, by the end of the 3 months, you will feel so successful. You will feel like a different person. You will feel so much more powerful. And you know that, you've made it through this, and you know that you can achieve what you want. You can make it through any other challenges. And so I'm excited for you. I hope this resonated with you. I think that's all the messages I have. But if you're interested in a personal reading, let me know. I'm going to put my Instagram and website in the description below. You can book a reading through there. We can go into a little bit more detail. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. And I hope you'll come and see me in the next video. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos. And yeah, I hope you take good care of yourself whenever and wherever you're watching this. So I love you. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. This is going to be your reading if you chose this Moss Agate Star. So we're going to do an energy check, and then we're going to look at the next 3 months in terms of career, relationships, and challenges and blessings, and then get some advice. So let's get started. We have the King of Wands, we have Leo, and we have happy endings, end of a chapter. Beautiful. So much light energy already. Like a lighthouse or a beacon of some sort is kind of the energy I'm feeling. That's so lovely. So with these cards, it makes me think that you have recently accomplished something, or there is in fact a chapter ending in your life. The king is kind of like a culmination as well. He's a leader, he is very successful, he is the top of the court cards. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of positive energy here. Like I said, a lot of light energy and just a lot of confidence as well. A lot of passion and inspiration. There's like a fearlessness to your self-expression right now. Like I said, a lot of confidence and a lot of just accomplishment. I mean, you seem to have set a goal, have been really going after your goals, even kind of like doing pretty well under pressure. You might even be somebody who thrives under pressure, and now things are again coming to a close, perhaps. Things are being celebrated. This is definitely a happy ending of some sort for you. And just because it's the end of a cycle or a chapter doesn't necessarily mean that your light is gonna go out. I think in fact it's quite the opposite. I think you're burning more beautifully and brightly than you ever have before, and you're really inspiring others to do the same, and you're leading with a lot of grace, a lot of charisma, and a lot of new wisdom that you've gained throughout whatever this kind of process or journey you've been on. I actually really love this combination of the King of Wands and Leo, because Leo to me it's such like a heart-centered sign and energy. It's the 5th house, it does have a connection to children and perhaps like your inner child, but there is this sense of responsibility that you've grown into without losing this connection to your inner child or your heart or passion or just your light in general. Like, you know how to work hard and play hard, and that's so beautiful. And I feel like that's something not everyone can achieve. It's a difficult balance, but I do think you've done it well, and you've inspired others to seek their own balance and their light. And I think you're ready to take on the next challenge. Like I said, here you are at kind of the end of a cycle or a chapter, and maybe it's more of a bittersweet ending. But it is a successful, happy, beautiful ending, and you're ready to see what comes next. You have this incredible perspective now, this incredible wisdom now. You see things from a bigger perspective. You have a deeper connection with yourself and with others. And I think you know that things do come to an end. I think that's part of this maturity that you've grown into. Just that things do come to an end. The only constant in life is change, and you're rolling with it, like I said, very gracefully, very confidently, and you are a very goal-oriented person. I think I already said that, but I think you may even have your sights set on the next big thing, the next big project. And so again, you're maybe having some feelings about whatever is ending, but you're also excited for the next chapter. And I think it will just allow you to keep shining. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. I feel like there's, if this resonates with you, if you feel like you're in a good spot, you're feeling positive, cycles are ending. If you're feeling still a little playful, but acknowledging and taking responsibility for your responsibilities, then this is your pile. And so let's get right into the tarot, which I have pre-drawn for this, but we're gonna start with your career or schooling, if that's what resonates more for you. So we have the Ace of Swords and the Ten of Swords, which are voices in this deck. So yeah, serious new beginnings and some serious endings as well. Like I said, maybe this is, if this change is related to your career, then it is a little bit emotional. It's definitely, again, shifting your perspective, and you're going out with a new perspective, and maybe there's a bit of relief as well that this chapter is over and ended. Maybe it's lightening your load a little bit, but there is so much clarity and so many new ideas and new opportunities coming for you in terms of, again, career or schooling. Maybe you've recently got a new job and you have to end the old one, something like that. Maybe you're graduating high school or college and then you're kind of on to the next phase as well. But over the next 3 months, I think you're going to be clearing away a lot of disillusionment. Like I said, I think you have kind of shifted your perspective already. I think you have a bigger perspective, and I think that's going to help you a lot in the coming months. This is a chance for you to find and follow your inner truth. The next 3 months will be an opportunity for you to flesh out these new ideas, this new perspective in regards to your career or school. And it will give you an opportunity to really use logic and reason and kind of show off your intellect a lot. I think you're kind of entering like a new reality with this part of your life. I think there will be a lot of clarity, like I said, and maybe even, it might take some adjustment with this Ten of Swords here. I think for some of you at least, there will be a moment or moments over the next few months where you recognize that like things are different behind the scenes. Like I'm thinking the example that's coming to mind is like somebody with a big dream and they move to LA or New York, and all of a sudden like, you know, they're getting these great opportunities, and they're also kind of waking up to the less appealing side of the glamorous life, so to speak, or you know, things like that. And so it will certainly broaden your horizons and your perspective even more. But like I said, I think, you know, at the start, I think you've already begun to have a deeper connection with yourself, and perhaps even with spirituality, or like I said, with others. And so I think that will serve you well because it's going to take a lot of clear communication of what you want, what you need, boundaries, those sorts of things in this new endeavor that you're going on. And I know swords are mental energy, they're more logical, rational, but I do get the sense too that that deepened connection will help you see through the bullshit, basically. Like, you have a much stronger connection with, you know, that Leo card, your heart, your intuition. And so, you know, you're getting clarity, like I said, on your truth. And I think you are standing strong in that, and in your convictions and in your values. And so yeah, just trust your intuition through this journey, clearly communicate, and clarity will come to you for sure. And so will a lot of great opportunities for you to kind of show off, like I said. You know, and this is an ace and a 10. This is another like full circle journey, essentially. And so it could be, again, only take it if it resonates. I'm not trying to like freak people out, but like you could start a job and it's not what you imagined. And so it kind of is very quickly, you're very quickly on to the next thing. And that's fine. That happens, you know, like that is more than okay. It's about aligning with your truth. And if the environments you're in don't resonate with that and don't support that, then it's better for you to move on. But there is definitely something beginning and ending. Ooh, maybe for some of you it's both. Maybe you are about to graduate and like you start a new job before you actually graduate, you know what I mean? And so like you're starting this new job, it's very exciting, and then you kind of have the emotions and the conclusion of actually graduating and just settling into full-time work, perhaps. And so maybe it's, yeah, maybe things are happening kind of parallel or simultaneously over the next 3 months as well, which is very interesting. Okay, next we're gonna look at relationships. So we have the Page of Inspiration and Justice. Ooh, okay. So, you know, to clarify, this could be romantic, this could be platonic, it could be business, it could be familial relationships, all types of relationships apply here. And I was gonna say, you know, I think, you know, someone exciting and inspiring and colorful and just someone with a lot of energy could be coming in, which could be true, but I think you're making a lot of connections over the next 3 months, actually. I think there will be a lot of new people in your life. You know, you could be starting a new creative project, or maybe this opportunity is like an invitation to be included on some sort of creative project. And in turn, you're kind of learning again, about boundaries, about fairness and balance, and where to put your energy, how to work with other people in a new environment, on a new idea, and kind of allow the ideas, the multitude of ideas, to come together and create something even more unique and complex and exciting. For some of you, I'm also hearing, again, especially with that Leo card and this page of inspiration, some of you could be working with or, meeting children, or, could have new children in your life. Maybe your friends are having children. Again, maybe you're working with children. And so those could be some new kind of youthful energies coming into your life as well. But really, there's just a lot of enthusiasm here, a lot of curiosity, a lot of kind of unbridled expression. Like it really does give me Leo energy. And positivity, spontaneity, even like serendipity, there is a little bit of being in the right place at the right time and meeting the right people, which is really interesting. And I do think that these people with justice here, I think they'll share your values. I think they'll share this new perspective with you of, a clarity and a fair and just world, and providing that inspiration, inspiring each other. It's just this really like symbiotic energy. You're really feeding off of each other in a very positive way, and you kind of balance each other out. You bring something to the table, and they do, and this other person does, and so it's just a really beautiful combination of energies here. In terms of romantic relationships, first, okay, so just in general, like, I am getting the vibe that this is a younger group of people that picked this pile. You don't have to be, but I think there's just a youthful energy to this pile. There's, like I said, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of curiosity. Pages are students, they're kind of beginners. Again, another indication of new chapters. But in terms of relationships, romantic relationships specifically, for some of you, this page of inspiration could be a specific person, or it could be you, and you're encountering and embracing perhaps maybe your first real relationship, or maybe your first real relationship in a while. And it's very fun loving. It's very, there is a little bit of impulsiveness to it with this fire energy, with inspiration. Not quite as much as like the Knight of Wands would be, but definitely just exciting new heart-opening experiences with this person. And in turn, that means you have to learn how to balance. You have to learn how to work with each other and learn about each other's values, and be honest and fair, and recognize that your actions or their actions have consequences. And that's not necessarily a negative thing, but if this is a newer relationship, like I kind of get the sense that it is, then you, like I said, have to learn to work with each other. Or maybe this is your first time like living with someone, and it's all very exciting. It's kind of like the little honeymoon phase, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we've got some things to work out. And again, that's perfectly normal. I think every healthy relationship goes through that. But yeah, you're like, oh, I I have to think about this other person now. And I hope they'll consider me in their decisions and pursuits. But I also think, like I said, a lot of you are this Page of Wands, and this is, like I said, you meeting a lot of new people over the next 3 months. You're really encountering just a whole vast array of different types of people. And again, I think this Justice card is just you learning to stay in alignment with your truth and to live with integrity and stick to your values, even when there's a ton of people, that could potentially have influence on you. And so, again, I think there is a message here about boundaries, about sticking to who you know you are, again, even in the face of all this excitement, and not compromising yourself for these new people, and not dimming your light for these new people. And again, it goes back to kind of trusting your intuition, of being discerning about who is for you and who will light you up and support you, and who you are able to do that for as well, and learning who's not for you. But I do feel like for most of you, like I said, this feels like so right place, right time, right people, like it really is people, relationships that will resonate deeply with you and will share your values and will really encourage and support you as you go through these changes, as you embark on this new chapter. But let's go ahead and take a look at what challenges you might face over the next 3 months. So we have the Hanged Muse and the Page of Voices. Another page. Interesting. So right away, I'm actually noticing that, like, these two figures are kind of in similar positions. They're, almost upside down. She is upside down, but they do have this, the Hanged Muse is all about surrender, and it's all about allowing yourself to surrender to this new perspective, to surrender to this patience that's needed for this clarity to come in. And so maybe that's a challenge for you right now. The beginning stages of this next chapter is adjusting to this new perspective and allowing yourself to learn how to really believe in it and learn how to act in alignment with it, and learn how to actually communicate it to others with this Page of Voices here. The Justice is Libra energy as well, and Libra is like a very diplomatic, very well-spoken sign. And so that, I almost like don't even want to call it a challenge, because I don't think it really is all that challenging for you. It's just an adjustment that is happening, of how do you actually voice these ideas and this new perspective in a way that is, one, in alignment with your own integrity, but in a way that also resonates with other people and helps them see your perspective. I do also think, as far as challenges go, this Hanged Muse, and both of these, I think, actually, they're representative of, like I said already so many times, this shifting perspective. But then you also have to learn to let go of the previous perspective. You have to let go of limiting beliefs, of, the beliefs that don't resonate anymore. And it's like, all the examples I'm giving or that are coming to mind are like kind of stressful. But, this is just an example. This doesn't have to resonate with you. I don't mean anything by this, but the example that's coming to mind is like when you leave a very strict religious environment and you're changing your perspective, but and your own beliefs, and you're trying to realign with how you view the world now and what perhaps like your spirituality is now, but there are still some things lingering. There are certain thought patterns, behavior patterns that linger. And again, that's so human. That's okay. Or, you know, even to give like a less maybe controversial example, say you are leaving a workplace and you're stepping into a new one, into a new role completely. Maybe you're moving far away and it's like a culture shock, you know, and you just have to readjust and look at things from a new light and recognize, oh, it's time to do things differently. We do things differently here, and I want to move differently, because I've gone through this maturing, I've gone through this change, I've made this change for a reason, and now it's time to move differently. The situation requires me to move differently, and so I have to let go of these old habits, or, you know, these old beliefs or thought patterns that don't serve me in this space anymore. And like I said, pages are students, so again, I'm getting the sense that some of you are younger. Hopefully you're not too young. I mean, my readings are relatively tame. I feel like they're pretty safe for all ages, but you're learning, and that's just your challenge, is you're just learning the ropes again, and it's gonna take some time. And I think with this page specifically, there is like there's a very strong desire, there's almost like an urgency to like figure everything out and have all the answers very quickly, when the Hanged Muse is here to be like, no, 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 no. Pause. Just absorb it. Just allow yourself to absorb and observe and take it all in. And then you can say, okay, here's how I see things. Here's how this resonates with me now. And I think you will bring a lot of fresh perspective to whatever new environment you're entering over the next 3 months. But it'll take some time, I think, for you to find your footing, for people to really hear you out. But you do have valuable insight. It's just a matter of allowing yourself the space, and again, maybe some discernment of when and how is the best way to communicate these ideas. Okay, and so finally, we're gonna look at the blessings coming into your life over the next 3 months. Sorry, there's a lot happening. There's a lot coming through. And oh wow, okay. So we have Temperance and we have the Knight of Materials. That's so interesting because I have been feeling so much energy. Like there's so much happening, I feel like, in the next 3 months. A lot of new beginnings, a lot of new people, a lot of excitement, and really beautiful things happening. But you know, then you get this Hanged Muse, and then you have Temperance and the Knight of Materials, or the Knight of Pentacles. And this is a little bit of a slower energy. This is an opportunity for you to kind of slow down. I mean, really, this is you after all this change. This is you finding your footing. This is you finding harmony and balance. And you know, Temperance is all about alchemy, about, you know, pouring different energies together and creating something new, and kind of finding that you're hitting your stride, is what I heard. You're finding that kind of perfect middle ground. And, I say perfect, nothing is ever perfect, but you're finding your center again, and you're finding a routine. You're finding a balance that works for you. And like I said at the start, I think you are somebody who like works hard and plays hard, and you've done a good job of cultivating that in your life, but now you kind of have to figure it out again, in this new chapter, in this new environment, or perhaps new relationship. And it'll take some time, but truly you'll find a lot more ease probably toward the end of the 3 months after things have, started to calm down. But a lot more ease, a lot more, still working hard, still very diligent, but definitely not feeling as overwhelmed or excitable. And that doesn't mean you don't still have like a passion for what you're doing. It just means that I just get the sense of comfort. There's a comfortability here, and like I just said, you're learning when and how and where to speak up and speak your truth and live your truth. And that's exactly what this blessing and these blessings are offering you. Both of these cards do indicate the need for patience. Like I said, the Knight of Materials specifically is a lot slower moving energy. But like I said, I mean, you're really hitting your stride. You're finding and connecting with your purpose, and like we've been talking about, your values and your integrity, and you're finding that center, and it is becoming unshakable. I mean, the Knight of Materials is someone who, like I said, is very diligent, is very steadfast, but is somebody who cares deeply about what they're working towards and knows what it takes to accomplish their goals. And not only accomplish their goals, but they know what it takes in order to make their goals have longevity. They know what it takes to build a stable and secure foundation, and you're doing that within yourself, and you're finding a way to do that in your external reality as well. And after all this change and all this excitement and all this energy, you are grounding yourself again. You are again in a place of contentment, and you really believe in what you're building and what you're creating, and you know that it will be successful. You know it will bring you abundance. You know that all of these changes, all of this hard work, all of this consistency and learning is incredibly worthwhile. Because I think maybe, with this challenge here, the Hangman, the Page of Voices, there is a shift in beliefs and letting go of limitations. And the blessing is that by the time you really get into it and like I said, find your footing, there's just this recognition of, oh, this is where I'm meant to be. At least for right now, like, this is where I'm meant to be. And like I said, this work is worthwhile. It will bring you so much success. And it's also just a recognition of the fact that you are reliable. You can face these challenges. You can adapt to new situations. You can gain new skills, and those skills and that knowledge are valuable. And like I said, you're finding routines, you're finding a balance that works for you. And even if you're not 100% confident in your abilities or your work, you're well on the way. You know, you're not a page anymore, you're a knight, and there is movement with that. There is progress, and you will see the results of your work, again, both internally and externally. And you know that, or you will know that this new experience, this new environment, this new chapter is a really big opportunity for you to plant the seeds and pave the way for a very stable and secure future, both financially, emotionally, spiritually, relationship wise. You know, there's a lot of security coming to you, and you're finding moderation again. You know, you're finding that slowness, you're finding that balance, that moderation. Again, I think you're somebody who has always worked hard and played hard, but maybe it's not 50-50 anymore. Maybe it's 60-40, or again, just whatever serves you best and whatever works best for the environment you're in now and the person that you are now, or again, will be in the next 3 months. But I mean, truly, overall, the blessing is you being able to alchemize all of these lessons and ideas and inspirations that you've absorbed and learned about, and do something with them. You know, make progress, make something meaningful, and build a stable and abundant life for yourself. But now let's finish off with some advice for you for the next 3 months. Spirit, what advice do you have for pile 2 as they start this new chapter, they end a chapter? Oh my gosh, Regulus, the heart of the lion. So right back to that Leo energy. That's awesome. I mean, this is really just reassurance from Spirit that your hard work will pay off. You will feel very confident, abundant, successful again. And really the advice with this card is to recognize and own your power, and let your heart shine and connect with your heart's desires, and let that be at the core of all of these ideas and all of this change and progress and all the work that you do. Don't lose sight of that light, of your light, and of your heart. But let's get a couple more. Let's see, what other advice do you have for pile 2, please, Spirit, over the next 3 months? Oh, okay, perfect. Ooh, okay, we have Andromeda, freedom, and Pallas, the warrior goddess. Ah, lovely. So Andromeda is, again, we have the keyword freedom. So the advice with this, I know the guidebook talks about being careful of like commitments you make, or agreements, you know, looking at like the fine print of things specifically. And so again, if you're going into a new job, or perhaps you're enrolling in like a university or something, that is something to be mindful of. But really, this is breaking free from limiting ideas, limiting beliefs, and doing something to make yourself feel free, make yourself feel liberated, doing something like the complete opposite of what your thoughts are telling you. I know in oh, what is it? It's literally called opposite action, and it's a DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy skill. And you know, it literally is that. It's like, okay, my mind is telling me to do this one thing or not to do this one thing, and so I'm gonna do the opposite. And you know, it it is a challenge, but it works and it breaks you out of that cycle, that repetitive, just thought pattern or behavior patterns where we get stuck. And again, that's okay, but yeah, try to challenge yourself to do some opposite action stuff and just see how that kind of affects your self-esteem and your thoughts and feelings and your confidence, really. But there's also the message with this card of not doing everything yourself and asking for help. Sometimes we need help to break free, and that's okay. Again, like I said, I think you have a lot of people coming into your life over the next 3 months. And so I think if you feel stuck, if you're, really feeling the weight of this challenge, then ask for help. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and it's hard to be vulnerable, but you deserve that support. You deserve to feel free, and you deserve to find this alignment and find your footing and security and stability again. But we also have Pallas, the warrior goddess, otherwise known as Athena. Hello, Athena, we love you. And so really this card is about connecting with your own inner warrior. It's almost like Sasha Fierce came to mind, which I think is Beyonce's like alter ego. I don't know if she still does that. It was like a early 2000s sort of thing. But maybe give yourself a little bit of an alter ego. Maybe, yeah, this new perspective will just require some new personality traits of yours to come out. And they're always within you, that strength and confidence reside within you. It's just a matter of a little bit fake it till you make it. But I mean, I think we had Leo, we had the King of Wands. I think you already know that you have so much bravery within you. You have so much strength and wisdom within you. And it's just a matter of applying it to this new chapter of your life. And that can certainly be scary, but and this card also asks you to protect yourself. And so, we go back to boundaries. We go back to being discerning about who we're connecting with and what we're communicating and how we're communicating it, and the ways in which we express our truth, and just being able to protect yourself and know that you can come back to your center. You can come back to contentment and peace. But I mean, and also similarly to the Justice card, Pallas it talks about doing what's fair and what you believe is right, and acting in integrity. And so it's all about alignment, it looks like, for you over the next 3 months. And that is a hard thing to do when you're in a new situation. It's a hard thing to do when it seems like there's so many changes happening around you. But I believe in you. I know you are more than capable. And just know that so many good things are coming to you. And I do, again, think you'll have a lot of support. But just give yourself the time and space to kind of pause and learn how to moderate, how to walk that middle path. That's another DBT thing. I don't know if anybody's familiar with therapy at all, but yeah, you're gonna do great. I think it will be a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, maybe even a little bit of chaos at first, but there are so many opportunities for you to soak up new information and new ideas and new inspiration, and that's so exciting. And it'll just culminate in you really stepping into your purpose and your power, and like I said, making something very meaningful out of it. So pile 2, I think that's all the messages I have for you. I hope this was helpful. I hope something resonated, and thank you so much for letting me read for you. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to get a little bit more specific, I do offer personal readings and personal coaching sessions. You can find more information on my Instagram or my website, both of which I will link in the description below. And again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you come back and see me in the next video or check out some of my other videos. And, you know, give me a like, comment, subscribe if this resonated. But take good care of yourself wherever and whenever you're watching this. And I love you so much. Bye. Hello, pile 3. This is going to be your reading if you chose this clear quartz moon. And so we'll get into the energy check. We've got a couple cards here, and then we'll look at the next 3 months in terms of career or schooling, and then relationships and challenges and blessings, and then we'll get some advice. So let's just see what we've got first. We have the 6 of Swords and the Hierophant in reverse. You guys actually got 2 tarot cards. We also have water and speak up. Use your voice to express yourself. Lovely. Okay. This is really interesting. Okay, because when I was meditating on your energy before I drew these cards, I actually got the image of someone in a boat. So the 6 of Swords coming through, and like the water energy here is very prominent. And I got the feeling of like feeling aimless and feeling a little lost. Not quite like despairing or anything like that, but just kind of uncertain and unsure, and yeah, just kind of aimless, like I said. And you know, with the Hierophant in reverse coming out with this card, it makes me think that you are perhaps going through like a spiritual crisis or change. Again, I don't know that like crisis is quite the right word. It just feels like this kind of limbo area that you're in right now. And I get the sense that like you're moving toward calmer waters and you're trying to find some stability, some faith. But the emotions, with this water card here, the emotions are coming through very, very strongly, and they're kind of overpowering any logic, any rationale, or even, you know, the opposite. They're kind of overshadowing any beliefs, any faith that you could be searching for. And like I said, I think you're moving toward calmer waters, as the 6 of Swords indicates, but I don't know that you're quite there yet. Like I said, I think you're almost just kind of at a standstill, or, you know, it's like going back to like literally being in a boat. It's like you lost one of your oars and you just have like one paddle. And so you're like slowly trying to figure out which direction to go. It's like you don't have all that you need right now. Because, you know, in the upright, like this guy's holding keys, right? But like you don't have the keys, you don't have a compass, you don't have one of your paddles, you know, you don't have a map. And so it's just this sense of looking for direction, really, and trying to get to these calmer waters and find some stability. You might even be trying to like move away from like a an oppressive person, force, environment, something, or, someone that has really kept you feeling stuck and kept you feeling like you can't speak up, like you can't have your own beliefs, like you can't express your emotions in the way that you need to. Honestly, like, I just, I get the sense that, like, I just want to give you a hug. I get the sense that you're really trying to move on from something that has been painful, that has been a struggle, and you're trying to find your voice. You're trying to find this direction. You're trying to find support, and you're just trying to flow with where you're at now, and allow the emotions to come forward, and hopefully through that and through learning some of your own values and beliefs, and finding clarity with those, you can kind of start to move forward a little bit. But it feels like you're not quite there yet. But I do think for a lot of you, there has been a big change. Something dramatic or even traumatic could have happened, and now, like I said, you're feeling kind of aimless. You're trying to move on from it. Maybe you've already, literally removed yourself from that environment or that person, but the emotions are still lingering, and it's like a culture shock almost, being in a new space or being on your own, and trying to find out who you are on your own. It's like you're figuring out where to go from here, basically. And the fact is, though, these people aren't alone. And so, like I said, maybe you don't have a compass or a map and it feels very aimless, but I do think somebody else has some resources, or at least, some emotional support that they can provide for you. So if you haven't asked for help, I think especially with the Speak Up card, you're being encouraged to ask for help. That could be from friends, family, a professional of some sort, but others of you have found this support, and it's just a matter of, again, letting yourself kind of flow and find your voice again, and searching for that clarity on how you want to use your voice, and finding your faith again. Because I do think, with the Hierophant here in reverse, there is definitely some lack of faith. And that doesn't have to be any sort of like particular religion or spiritual belief. It could just be a belief in yourself, or belief in like the goodness of people and humanity, and that can be really difficult to find, especially after something particularly painful has happened that you're trying to process and move through. But if you're kind of feeling like a spiritual crisis, if you're feeling like aimless, a little lost, and you're moving on or attempting to move on from something that has made you feel particularly emotional, that has made you feel powerless or voiceless, you're just trying to navigate the waters, so to speak, then this is your pile. So if this all resonates with you, stick around, and we are going to get into the tarot to see the next 3 months. And so hopefully some positive changes are coming for you, some clarity and direction. But first, we're going to look at your career or schooling. And we have the Seven of Voices and the Page of Voices. Okay. So maybe for some of you, this kind of oppressive force or, very kind of strict, rigid environment that you're moving on from was a workplace, or again, like a school learning environment with the Seven of Swords here. Voices are swords in this deck. I don't know if I clarified that. But the Seven of Voices, is all about deception and betrayal and just this sneaky energy. We've got like fox imagery here. They're very aloof. They're very sneaky, like I said. And so maybe there were some not so great practices at your work environment, and things got a little rough for you. Or maybe it's just simply that like you have recognized that this space, perhaps a like particular boss or coworkers, like didn't align with your values and the work that you kind of envisioned yourself doing. And it's almost like it wasn't what it seemed. The grass was not greener. But with this Page of Voices here, I think over the next 3 months, as you kind of process this Seven of Voices, the page is really, it's offering you a lot of clarity. It's offering you a chance to express yourself. Again, going back to this Speak Up card, that's what this Page of Voices is all about. It's all about using your voice and honoring your ideas and your intellect and your curiosity. I think you're taking what you learned from whatever experience you've just been through and you're applying it to new opportunities. You're expanding your mind, your perception, and really learning how to align your thoughts and words and actions. I just heard some of you could be writers. Maybe you're trying to work independently now, and you're like writing a book or a blog, or you're starting like a YouTube channel or something like that, and like legitimately getting your voice out there. But I'm really focused on her glasses. I'm really drawn to them right now, and that indicates to me not only clarity, but I think also the fact that in your career and in schooling, whatever situation you're in over the next 3 months, you will be seen. Your ideas, your, new perspectives on the world will be seen by someone who can offer you a better environment, who can offer you the support that you need, and who can offer you a space to expand even further and explore your potential. I mean, this is you really being able to show off your intellect, your intuition. It's both in my mind. At least the way it's coming through now is you've got these bright ideas, these insights, and they're important, they're valuable. And, pages are students, and so there's kind of a learning curve with that. But I do think that you will have a chance in your career or school over the next 3 months to really showcase the idea of, I just heard like, no, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, and I know what I stand for. You have moved through and you've found your voice again. And even if you're not communicating as eloquently as perhaps you would like, that's a learning process. That's okay. And the important part is that you're speaking up and you're standing 10 toes down on what you believe in, and you're finding that belief in yourself again, and in your ideas. I think you're gonna be learning a lot about yourself and the world around you, and again, just the potential that you hold, that this new opportunity holds even. And again, even more than that, I think you and your ideas are also being seen by some important people. And again, people who will support you, people who also see your vision and recognize the importance and strength and potential of your ideas and your intellect. And I think, once you kind of move through these emotions, this kind of aimless time, you will be able to be a lot more discerning about truth and who is trying to deceive you, and seeing through, again, looking at the glasses here, seeing through the illusions, seeing when maybe someone or some offer is too good to be true. And again, you'll be able to really stand in your integrity and find that belief in yourself again, and say yes very strongly or no very strongly, and with conviction, and mean it. Okay, taking a look at relationships now. We have the Nine of Materials and the Magician. Oh, beautiful. Wow. Okay, so the first thing I'm hearing is this Nine of Materials or Pentacles and the Magician. It just makes me think that you are becoming very independent. Some of you may genuinely be getting out of like a toxic relationship, and so you're finding your freedom, your self-sufficiency again, your power again, and that is really, really beautiful. If that is the thing you're moving through now, or the thing that has just kind of ended, is a toxic relationship, and you're feeling a little lost and directionless afterwards, just know that the direction is coming. The stability and the renewed faith in yourself is coming. You have done the work, or you will do the work over the next 3 months, and you will find that you are so much more powerful than you ever even thought, and you do have all of the resources, the skills, the knowledge to create an absolutely beautiful and abundant life for yourself. For those of you that are in a relationship, romantically speaking, I guess, this is an indication that you have done the work, and you're kind of finding a new sense of stability. Maybe you've kind of reached like a milestone in your relationship, and you're just basking in the abundance of it all, of the love and the security, and enjoying where you are now. And I think there could be even like a new phase beginning for you guys and your partners with this Magician card here. And you're really like creating, again, just the life that you deserve, that you want. And you're doing so with the support of a loving partner. For some of you, I feel like this is being interpreted in so many ways. So there's several little like groups of you within this group, but some of you have been single and very independent and loving it for quite some time, and maybe now, or within the next 3 months, you will find yourself in a space where you feel ready or you desire a new relationship. And so you're kind of using this Magician energy, this manifestation energy, to call in a relationship that you know you deserve, because I think you will be doing a lot of work on yourself if that's the case, or you have done a lot of work on yourself and you really have a clear idea of what you want and need in a relationship and what you bring to a relationship, to the point where navigating the dating world is a lot easier. And you know that you are, that you'll be fine on your own. And so, again, you can be kind of discerning, because you have all these resources, you have this support and these skills. And maybe that's not the case for some of you. Maybe you just desire to stay single and you're manifesting something else. But for those of you that, you are feeling that way and you're kind of working on finding that clarity, then the relationship that you desire is, this beautiful new beginning for you. And I think the person that you've kind of created in your mind is out there for you. And we're not perfect, we're humans, but I think you've reached a place, or you will soon reach a place where like I said, what you bring to relationships, what you want your person to bring to a relationship. And so you can really put that out into the universe and bring it into reality. But in terms of like general relationships, friendships, family, whatever, I think there is this sense of independence, this sense of freedom over the next 3 months, where you're just kind of kicking it. You're kind of enjoying life, and you're feeling very comfortable with where you're at in life and who you are and the work you've done thus far, and you recognize your power. And so, over the next 3 months, maybe you're the one stepping in to support friends or family and, offer them this manifestation power, these resources and skills in the ways that others have supported you to get here, or, the work that you've done for yourself, and now you can provide that to others. It feels a lot like community care. So maybe you're getting involved with your community in a bigger sense, because you have done the work, you have these resources, you have this abundance, and now you recognize your power and privilege, and you're able to give back in a way that maybe you weren't before. You've created this beautiful reality for yourself, and now you're helping others, like I said, your friends, family, community, to create a beautiful life for themselves as well. And so, again, just very like expansive energy, just lots of exploring, expanding your potential over the next 3 months. So let's talk about some challenges you might face over the next 3 months. We have the Two of Inspiration, or Wands, Two of Wands, and the Eight of Emotions, or the Eight of Cups. Okay, wow. So really the challenge is, the first thing I'm thinking of with this Two of Inspiration is finding that direction, and being willing to break out of your comfort zone, break out of old patterns. And that goes for the Eight of Emotions too. There's a lot of, the challenge really is being willing to heal and leave this kind of difficult past behind you. We've got this telescope here. She's looking out onto the horizon. And so this is you just being willing to do the things you need to do, to go after the things that you want, to again recognize the power that you hold. Like I said, maybe some of you aren't quite out of the woods yet with this situation. Maybe you do quite literally have to move to a new place and that can be really scary and challenging. But I know these are separate categories, but I feel like with the Page of Voices, the Magician, there is that clarity coming to you, that recognition of your own power. And then the challenge is recognizing that you have to take the first step. You have to do something with that clarity and insight. You have to act on and use these resources and skills and this knowledge and wisdom you've gained and move towards better things for yourself. And maybe that goes back to working through the idea, the feelings that you don't deserve better, but you do, and you will find better over the next 3 months. Because, obviously, before the Two of Inspiration, we have the Ace. We have this spark of inspiration and passion and this renewal of vitality in our life. And then, we have to figure out a plan to act on that inspiration, to bring it to life, and to move away from things and places and people that don't serve us anymore, mindsets that don't serve us anymore. So really the challenge here is not just finding a new path for yourself, but it's being willing to carve out and walk this new path that you've found for yourself, and being willing to, like I said, break out of your comfort zone. There's a lot of expansion coming through here. That's the word that keeps coming to mind, is just expansion. Expanding your energy, expanding your faith, expanding your heart, because you have this desire for new experiences and new ideas and inspiration. And so again, it's just a matter of being willing to take action toward them and know that, you can change your mind, you can change paths, you can walk away if something doesn't end up feeling right. Just know that you have to be the one to take the first step, and you have to be willing to let the past go, leave everything behind, and really truly and deeply heal. But if you can do that, if you can face those challenges head on, then you have some amazing blessings coming to you. So let's get into those cards real quick. We have the Hierophant in the upright. You guys actually got an extra card for this, so I'm gonna have to shift a little bit. So yeah, we started with the Hierophant in reverse, and now we have the Hierophant upright. So immediately that tells me that you will find that renewed sense of faith. You will find conviction in your beliefs, belief in yourself, perhaps even a mentor that, again, really sees your vision and recognizes your power and honors just who you are and what you stand for. But we also have the 10 of Emotions, or the 10 of Cups, and the Wheel, or the Wheel of Fortune. So we have 10-10 here. So that could be a significant number on your journey, important synchronicity for you. Because the Hierophant, which we have again 2 of, so 5-5 or 5-5-5 could be another important number. But fives are a number of change, and so you're undergoing all this change throughout the next few months, and then you're reaching this beautiful completion, this beautiful sense of fulfillment, with the 10 of Cups here. That's really the happy ending card. And so for some of you, that could be a relationship, could be finding a new healthy relationship. It could also again just be like friends and community. that you're finding this sense of stability with. It's like, you're finding the people that really resonate with your beliefs. I mean, there is a massive spiritual journey that's happening over the next 3 months. And, the wheel is turning, cycles are ending and beginning, and you're finding your direction, and you're recognizing that the wheel will keep turning. And, sometimes we're over here, sometimes we're at the bottom and things don't feel so good. And then, other times we're on top. And I truly do think that the wheel is turning in your favor over the next 3 months. Again, especially with all of this positivity and fulfillment with the 10 of emotions. With these 2 cards at the beginning, like I said, it's almost like a spiritual crisis, a loss of faith almost, and you're trying to find it again. You're trying to move to calmer waters. You're searching for something in those waters, and here it's just a reconnection, a deeper, more fulfilling connection with spirit and with your own spirit, and finding a system or a practice, or just, again, finding a deeper connection with yourself that is truly deeply rooted in love. Your luck is changing over the next 3 months. And again, like I said, you're not only finding this direction in your life and, perhaps in your faith, but you're finding a stability in it, especially with not just the Hierophant, but a 10. 10s are completion, they're accomplishment, fulfillment, they are security and stability. And that will come to you. Oh, I just want to cry, you guys, because like I said at the beginning, I just want to give you a hug and just please know that despite any challenges, despite any naysayers, you have so much power. You can accomplish anything. You can speak up. Your ideas are important. And, perhaps you are even becoming some sort of leader in a way. And you're bringing together this really beautiful community or family. And a new cycle is beginning for you. A new, really beautiful, loving, abundant cycle is beginning. Things may feel kind of tumultuous at this time, but I'm really excited for you. Things are definitely turning around over the next 3 months, but let's get some advice really quick just to see what else you should take into consideration over the next 3 months. So, Spirit, what advice do you have for pile 3 as they move through these challenges, these changes, and the next few months? Ooh, we have Jupiter expansion. Dude, what did I say? That word, expansion, yes. And Jupiter is also the planet of good fortune and luck. So really, I think this card is just reassurance that, again, things are gonna change for you in a positive way. Abundance is coming, expansion is coming, a reminder to release these self-limiting beliefs and honor your ideas and inspirations, and follow your dreams. Look at the bigger picture, find a new perspective, a new lease on life, kind of, is what I'm hearing. Again, a new kind of renewed sense of faith. But there is so much growth and healing and abundance coming to you over the next 3 months. So much, you guys. Everything is expanding, and it's expanding in your favor. That's beautiful. We have the number 24 here too. That could be a significant age or date, perhaps. Let's get a couple more pieces of advice for pile 3, please. Whoop. Ooh. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to say that right. Chariklo, spirit medicine with the number 39. But yeah, okay, so spirit medicine, spiritual healing, again, is coming through, a major spiritual awakening. This is, again, a deepening connection with yourself on every level, mind, body, spirit, and really getting clarity on what you need and reconnecting and honoring all parts of yourself, healing all parts of yourself. You know, and this is also a reminder that healing is a process and it's not a linear process, right? And being healed is not really a tangible, real end point. You know, things are always changing and shifting, and you move through something and you face new challenges and obstacles, and you know, sometimes we have to heal from those, and you know, it gets easier in a lot of ways, and sometimes there are new challenges that will take a little bit more effort, but again, there's just this renewed sense of faith and connection with yourself and a recognition that you have the capabilities to heal. This card also does talk about like alternative healing methods and plant medicine and paying attention to your diet. So if that resonates with you, I would encourage you to kind of look into that. Again, maybe you're going through, I mean, you are going through a spiritual awakening, but you know, maybe you're kind of shifting beliefs and you're feeling a little lost right now, and maybe connecting with Mother Earth and all the kind of natural remedies is something that resonates with you. Maybe that's a new practice that could be beneficial for you. And, you know, with that, there is also the message of seeking support, specifically like medical or health support where you need. Again, this is a medicinal card, and so, you know, if something like that resonates more with you, then please be sure to be sure to seek out, you know, support and healing modalities that resonate with you, that are genuinely beneficial for you, and yeah, things that lift your spirit and make your body and mind feel better. But let's get one more, please, for pile 3. What other advice do you have for them over the next 3 months? Oh. Regulus, the heart of the lion. Beautiful. Oh, the number 43. So have courage. Have courage. Be brave. And, you know, I'm hearing feel the fear and do it anyway, you know, and that is a challenge, you know. We had the 2 of inspiration and the 8 of emotions. There are a lot of emotions as we branch out, as we break out of our comfort zone, and it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength, but you have it. You have, you know, the magician. You have the power. You really do. And so, you know, follow, I don't think this is actually the North Star, but follow your North Star. Follow your light. Follow your heart. Honor your heart and your spirit. And, you know, this card makes me think of Leo energy, the heart of the lion. And so, it's not just about having courage, but it's about being optimistic and having a positive outlook and knowing that it's safe to have a positive outlook, and trusting that, if you own your power, if you trust in your capabilities and your strength, then you have the ability to create a positive outcome, so long as, speaking of Leo energy again, we work from a place of the heart and not the ego. And so I think that's a key piece of advice, is that we're human. We have egos, and our egos just want to protect us. And we have to, like I said, reconnect with our heart and spirit, and listen to that little voice that says, it's gonna be okay. You can do it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And believe that you can succeed. Believe that abundance and success are coming, because they are. They really are. We saw that. Those are your blessings, abundance and success, and this overflowing of love and luck, especially with Jupiter here. I mean, things will turn out in your favor. And I get the sense that you might not feel that way right now, but please keep going. Please have faith. You will find your faith again. You will find security and stability within yourself again, and you will find a direction, a path that is nourishing and is uplifting and brings you so much joy, as well as bringing you, success and abundance and fulfillment. It will truly deeply resonate with your heart. And once you achieve these things over the next 3 months, once you again find that security within yourself again, the fear will not be as strong. You'll just be able to have the courage and strength to go after what you desire, and know that you can achieve it. Know that you have the power, the manifestation abilities to create whatever life you choose. And again, you have some luck on your side as well. So, I'm really excited for you, and I feel a lot of tenderness for you, because again, I don't know that these future messages will resonate right away, because you've got to move through some hard stuff. You've got to find that faith in yourself and in the world and in spirit again, and that's okay. But I hope this offered you some reassurance. I hope some part of this resonated, and I think that's all the messages I have for you, pile 3. Like I said, I hope something resonated. I hope it was helpful in some way. And I just know you are gonna have a beautiful and blessed upcoming few months. And it may take a couple of those months to move through some hard things, but by the end of it, I know you're gonna feel a lot stronger, a lot more brave, and a lot more full of life. Again, you're expanding in new ways, in beautiful ways. So if this resonated, if it was helpful, please give me a like, a comment, subscribe. If you want to dig a little deeper, get a little bit more specific, I do offer personal readings and personal coaching sessions, so you can find those on my Instagram or my website. Those are linked in the description below. And so I hope you'll check those out, and I hope you will come see me in the next video, and you'll check out some of my other videos. And I hope you take good care of yourself wherever and whenever you're watching this. And please know that I love you so, so, so much. And I will see you next time. Bye.